yourself, Janak, to our audience.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Janak Chauhan. I basically come from a background of engineering, specifically to telecommunications. So this was the first, basically my first job post my graduation was with a telecom company. I was more into the core domain. It lasted for a couple of years. I can tell you around 5 to 5.5 years. I was into my core expertise. The role varied from time to time to the organization which I worked for. And so earlier, during initial couple of years, I was more into technical domain of my background. So, and it was very much rigid and it was not letting me grow. So at one point of stage, I realized that this is not what I was looking forward to because even by looking at the market, telecommunications was completely saturated in India. So some or the other way, I have to find a way out that how should I ended up being into different domain altogether. Once I was into telecommunication, though there are no doubt there are profiles and positions and teams where you can actually grow. But somehow I wasn't being a part of that particular teams during my tenure. And looking at it, I thought okay, I need some kind of a role which will help me out to move from completely from telecom industry and help me to land up in some different industry altogether. So coincidentally, I got an opportunity with Reliance Jio, and at that time, luckily, Jio wasn't in the market. It was into the startup stage, so it was not being launched to the customers. So at that moment, I was being interviewed for two profiles. So I got offer for a profile into the technical domain. But later on, when I joined the organization, I was being told by my manager that we also do have a one role, which is a functional role at the time. So what do I mean functional? So functional basically means that I will be a part of a technical team. So I was part of an operations team in Geo. So in that functional role, I will be the mediator with the senior management at the same time. So this functional role will help me to be also aligned with my technical skill sets and the operation part of the role. And at the same time, I will be also interacting with my different stakeholders altogether, as in making, defining the KPIs, which are very important. Define the KPIs, I have to make sure that how are they being tracked from time to time. Because being into telecom, what was important for me each and every month, and the best part was that I was being given an opportunity into the headquarters of Geo. So this team was basically taking care of entire pan-India network. So I was monitoring all 28 states at one single go. So I have the status updates across each and different state from time to time. Maybe it's weekly or monthly or quarterly or yearly. In the same times, what challenges are being facing while. So what do I mean by that? By the functional role? Because initially before Geo came into picture, I got a chance to define the KPIs with my different stakeholders. So there are 10 different teams, but these 10 different teams were only operational teams, not the program level teams or not the product level teams. Because at the time I was not interacting with the business because my job quota was very much niche and it was being aligned that you will only interact with the people from operations side, not from the business side. So business team was already being in place. So only for some kind of requirements I have to discuss with them when it will come from time. But or else I was only being aligned to my operations teams. So this was the first opportunity wherein I got to know how the project management works. Earlier, I never knew what do you mean by project management and how people go into that. So this role landed me to know about it. Okay, this is how the project management works. How do you have to interact with people and how do you have to solve the problems when it comes from time to time from different stakeholders. So I stayed there for I think good amount of time because I got a very good team around to work with. I was being given those kind of freedom in terms of my learnings that to take upon responsibilities first thing. So by taking up responsibilities, it gave me that kind of an ownership that what good or what best thing I can improvise in my team and for the entire operations team. So over there, I learned things about tools, what do we use in the market. Still, my skill set was very much aligned to not complete project management. So after giving around, it was morely into making reports, making presentations, giving reviews, taking the feedback from reviews, and then those reviews or feedback which you have received, try to discuss it with the operations stakeholders, and find a solution way around that how one can improvise it so that is good for our customers. So this role was basically related more of not the front end project management, but the back end project management. So at one point of stage, I realized that okay, now it's stagnant. Now there's nothing beyond I can grow. So I have to find a way around that. How should I enter the market? So after giving that much amount of now by coming into Geo, I was holding an experience very much good in terms of technical plus managerial. So this gave me the good, at least the basically the base to hit the market, to find the next opportunity. So then I started looking up for opportunities and I started looking for people who had similar domains into different industries, what skill set they had when they were working in similar domains and what I didn't have when I was working with Geo. So then accordingly, I shortlisted the tools which were very good in the market and which should be known by every project managers, because that is the key to help you to get your job done. And how do you implement those tools into the teams and how they're much productive and how they're efficient enough to let the work being so easy and for any people can get it done. So, but the bad part was that I had never got a chance to put my hands on the tool right now. So how should I let the other person know that I know it in spite of being not working onto it? So that was my challenge to let them know. Yes, I know it, but you won't feel it that I don't know it. So I started giving interviews. So initially they were very bad because I was being drilled into some skills which I thought I will be able to make them convince, but I was not able to convince them. So initially, few interviews went very bad. I got rejected also.
To just stop you, from your previous role, you were in a technical manager role, handling operations, but now you wanted to move into which kind of managerial role?
Only into project level, completely project level.
And for for our audience who are not aware about the differences between operation manager, technical manager, project manager, product manager, can you just give us an overview of what that would be?
See, by technical manager, what I say that I'll take an example of my background in telecom. So what do I mean? In operations, right now, since we are communicating virtually, right? So how are we communicating virtually? Either through your Wi-Fi or through your hotspot. How the Wi-Fi is going to work? There's some fiber team. So fiber team is an operations team, basically in operations, which is handling the technical part of your network. So I used to deal with fiber teams. So there are scenarios. So basically, if I take as a city as a whole, like Mumbai. Mumbai is a huge, densely populated city right now. So there might be few locations where we have our, you can say, base points, where we tend to get an idea that when this particular zone, we divide in terms of zones. When a particular zone is being either falling under a red flag, what do you remember red flag? Basically, some issues happening over there. So we have to resolve it so that our customers don't face any technical challenges whenever they are either being on calls or whatever work they're doing it. So at that time, we do get notifications to our internal tools that this particular zone is having some kind of a failure. So when this particular failure happens, it impacts the KPI. What do you mean by KPI is that as a Mumbai city as a whole, we have an uptime. So uptime is how long that particular city is up in terms of their percentage. We have defined percentage. So maybe 99%. So our benchmark was SLA. We kept it around 90% and more. If it goes beyond SLA, then we have to justify, because it's a kind of a thing where our revenue is being run. So if our KPI is getting impacted, so why the KPI is getting impacted? Because there is some kind of failure happening at some other particular part of the country due to some reasons. The fiber was one of the teams. There are multiple similar different teams which takes care of different KPIs. So all those KPIs were defined for them, and I was monitoring it because my job role was to make sure that I have to monitor them time to time, and I have to flash the statistics across the KPIs to the senior management. So they'll get an idea that okay, for Mumbai, our KPI has stand for this many percentage, and as on when it comes to around monthly and quarterly, so we will review it. That okay, across the entire quarter period, Mumbai was standing across the Indian, though there were failures happening, but still we were able to resolve it within our stipulated time, and we were not able to impact the services for the customers whom we are serving. So this kind of a role involves from the tech side. But now, what do you people should understand? What do you mean by project and program? So, project is a small thing which you do within your defined team. So, it can be for your own team and even for the other teams. But the program level things defines that you are handling multiple different projects in a single organization. So, it may be aligned to operations. It may be aligned to business. It also will involve product teams. So the program level comes at the higher hierarchy across the project. The program level will have the multiple set of program projects inside it. But when you're dealing with only project, that can be one or a couple of projects. It won't be more than that. But at program level, there can be a combination of multiple different projects which you are taking care of it, because it will basically broaden the scale of your expertise, and it will also broaden the scale of your stakeholders. And beyond that, it comes the portfolio level management. So portfolio level management, it's completely, you can see, comes across the organization level, directly from the director or the chairman of the company. At that level, the portfolio is measured. So portfolio will include multiple different levels of programs. So that is not only aligned to one business, it is aligned to different business. Maybe it's telecom, maybe it's kind of retail, kind of other industries falling into Jio. So Jio was one entity, right? So Reliance is the company which is owning multiple different entities, right? So portfolio level comes across that Jio is one entity, marketing is one entity in Jio, retail is one entity, petrochemical is one entity. So these are the portfolio level managements. But in Jio, program level involves multiple different projects. So I was only aligned mainly for project management and at a lower scale. So this was the scenario what I was doing it at Jio. So anything else now, Sana, you want me to define further then, or should I dig down, or should I just directly move on? That how did I find a way out from Jio, and how did I enter into mainly couple of project management domains and then recently into program? How should I do it?
So after this experience at Jio, you started interviewing and you got an opportunity at HDFC. So can you tell us how was the
before that I went somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
Before that I went somewhere else. Yes, so that is also interesting. That is also one kind of a domain. But I would like to tell you how that interview was look like. So should I take right now or should I leave in the end then? What do you suggest?
How did the?
Because these are how does the interview process was looking like, and how do I got an opportunity for a different company altogether?
So
do you want to keep it right now or do you want to keep it in the end?
Like after Jio, like where did you interview at? How was the process? And like did you like how many interviews did you have before you landed on your next opportunity?
Okay. So going forward after Jio, I made my profile look like that. Though there were some some kind of work which I wasn't doing in Jio, but for me to get an opportunity, I have to show them that yes, I was doing this kind of a role and I was involved in this kind of a role at that time. So initially, I portrayed myself that what I was doing, this is what I was doing, but it didn't give me a job.
Can you give us an example?
Then I shortlisted the few skill set. Yeah. So the example was that there are key skill sets wherein project management is basically involved in terms of methodologies, in terms of processes. So two were very people will definitely find over Google or anywhere else to dig it down in terms of conceptual knowledge, but practically you should know how to do it. So one is the agile methodology, which is being used in project management, and the other is the waterfall methodology. So it differs from company to company. Especially manufacturing companies do focus upon the waterfall kind of a method on their different projects in program level. But agile is a very good, heavily accepted across the globe, where the teams and companies used to focus upon and get the job done. So then this was earlier not known to me when I was trying to apply my jobs. So then when I started getting questions against that, I wasn't able to convince them. Why? Because I didn't knew it, what agile is, what waterfall is, and what kind of different methods are also divided into agile and waterfall, and why do people go for agile and why waterfall. So there were differences in those. So I was not knowing it. Yes. So then I realized that, okay, this is the scenario which I wasn't prepared for. So now I have to prepare myself for that. So then I started laying out myself that, okay, what is Agile? I learned about Agile. I learned about waterfall. What are the different methods also in Agile? And why do people only go for Agile and not waterfall? So with examples, then I saw that if I'm seeing that, okay, why Agile is being implemented in Geo and what is the reason why we didn't went for waterfall. So this I just made it overlook it. And then once again, I hit the market, apply for opportunities. Same scenarios came across me. So this time I was able to answer them the questions which I wasn't able to do it earlier. So this made me one step higher. Okay, now I'm able to clear this rounds by giving those certifications. But now that the scenario came, they were testing me in different roles in Agile. So there are Scrum Masters in an Agile team who has a specific level of role. There are PMOs who play specific level of role. There are POs who are the product owners. So this all roles, I never knew about it. Okay, well, this also existed. But then what each role does, because when a company is hiring, they will definitely test because project management is not, it's a kind of an ocean. The more you dig, the more kind of opportunities will come into it. So if you're going into a particular domain, you should know about these roles, even with the fact that you are not working to it, but at least you should know that okay, this role has been responsible for this kind of a work. So there might be some time that you have to interact with people and get the job done. So I have to know about those. So I wasn't knowing it. Then once again, I got rejected for many companies. And then I thought, now is the time I have to make sure that what each functional role into project management is important for and what are their skill sets. So I learned about Scrum Master. I learned about the product owners. I learned about the PMOs. And though there's a very good fact that there are companies which will define you as a project manager, but all this will fall under single hat. You will work as a PMO, you will work as a Scrum Master, you will also work at times as a product owner in a single job role. So there are companies which won't define a different Scrum Master. You will be playing a single role of a Scrum Master and the PMO at the same time. So you should know about it. So then I learned about it. So once again, I hit the market. I applied interviews. I was reaching close to the scenarios which they were testing across me. So what scenarios they'll say? They'll say me that okay, supposedly you are having a team strength of around 5 or 6 people, and there is a meeting happening. There are stakeholders who have some kind of a deadlines, and they will be focusing upon their technical skill set of area. They don't want to focus upon more on the management side, and they want to get the job done. So how will you convince them without hampering the deadlines? At the same time, also convincing them that they have to align to the processes and get the job done. This is the role of a project manager in project management. And it's our duty that, okay, whatever deadlines they have to fulfill it in terms of the processes being defined. Without processes, they are not allowed to do the job. And it's my role to make them convinced that they will do it in similar way. So how best I can do it? This scenario, they will test it. That what steps I will take in terms of steps, how I'm going to approach to them, and how easily I'm going to make it convinced by not impacting the business and also getting the job at the same time. So this is one of the scenarios which was, I'm just giving an example that which can be faced. Similarly, there will be different scenarios for which company you're applying for and what that company is being focusing upon to the product which they are being a part of. So they'll test you according to that. So these scenarios came across my plate and I started learning about it. Okay, now they're testing me in this scenario, so I have to be prepared for it. So what I did it from time to time, I was modifying my resume and portfolio accordingly to the interviews which I was giving. Because if I won't modify it, it won't portray the keywords or the skills which I want to let them know that I have did it. So I keep on doing so. And you won't believe there were companies which were really great. I had applied for JP Morgan for different roles. I interviewed for 6 to 7 times. I got rejected 6 to 7 times. But I was so close to get an opportunity. I didn't get it. So to that zone, when I was transitioning from Jio to another company, it took around 6 months. It took around 6 months, but I gave around 50 plus interviews across the globe. And you won't believe this. This is the time where I was giving interviews to Russians. Russians took my interviews. Japanese took my interviews. Chinese took my interviews. Americans took my interviews. Indians were a part of it. But with this kind of an exposure, it boosted my confidence that much to know me that okay, there are a set of people who are outside India. Also, they are also working for similar project management and similar roles, but they have a different work style altogether, and they have a different methodology to test you. So this kind of an I will consider that it was an opportunity for me to get myself tested with them. That how are they facing me and how I am being strong enough to convince them. So after giving all these interviews, I got two interviews. I got two offers from two companies. One company was Veritas. It's in Pune. The company was very good. I got basically I interviewed for 7 rounds, and the director of that team was so convinced that by hook or crook they wanted me in the team. So they didn't knew what I'm coming from. And the other offer I got was from Amdocs. Amdocs is an Israel company. It's mainly into product development. So these were the two options across me. So I took a time and then I shortlisted Amdocs. Both were from Pune. So Amdocs, why? Because it gave me an opportunity into the budgeting side of project management. So how do you? So basically, there is a domain where do you maintain budgeting seems it's very smaller term, but it's very in detail once you enter into that. So it was completely new to me. I have never worked across budgeting part of any company. So let's take up a challenge. So for me, it was a challenge. So I cleared one process of interviewing, getting shortlisted, and getting the offer. Now, during that entire journey, whatever I did was I haven't experienced it practically. So practically, I have never learned it, but I never let the other person know that मैंने कभी practically नहीं किया है. So this was my key strength which I used, which the other person didn't came to know only that कि मैंने कभी ये नहीं काम किया है. तो उसको लगा कि मैंने ये काम किया है. That was my good part to let them know. So this is the skill which you should know. मतलब I will tell the people that don't let that weakness carry you away, but portray yourself in so strong manner that the other person will be definitely be convinced that yes तूने ये किया है. भले तूने 100% नहीं किया है, बस तुझे पता है कि कैसे करना है और तुझे मैं काम दूंगा तो तू समझ लेगा वो काम. तुझे मुझे ट्रेन करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. So I made myself that much ready कि okay yes I have did it and I can do it irrespective without any kind of training or intervention needed. So that kind of boost moral I developed in the journey itself. अभी ये सब तो हो गया, ऑफर मिल गया. When I landed the job, I had been working. So I will tell you frankly that yes, I was worried कि how would I do it because मैंने कभी नहीं किया है. It was the first time. So I got a transition from telecom. Now I am entering into an IT company in a different domain altogether. So when I landed with Amdocs, though the opportunity was given me for budgeting, but when I joined, at that moment, Amdocs was having a short of resources into delivery management. So delivery and development is a different team altogether, wherein you will be technically aligned with the products and his progress happening from time to time. So even this was completely new to me. So then I was not having an option. So then my boss told me that okay, we need somebody who have to handle those. So we are putting you in that. So we interviewed you for budgeting. Later on, if there's some time permits, we definitely will align you some tasks from budgeting also so that you'll get your hands on to that. And we can migrate you also from that. So that much flexibility, they were having it. So then I said, okay, let's take up a challenge. Let's see what is in my plate. Right. So I learned the process about delivery management, how it works. But this was a single contributor role. You won't have any team around. So you will be having a role of an individual contributor. Okay. So you have to make sure that whatever you do from your task from time to time, you have to make sure that those are being discussed and those are being highlighted to your senior stakeholders. So delivery is more of technical role into product side. So over here, I won't go into much detail, but I can tell you that this particular role in Amdocs was very short. But there were some tools which we used, specifically Jira. See, Jira is a go-to tool which is being broadly used across entire globe. and I think many companies focus upon Atlassian tools because it will help you to get the job done easier, and at the same time, why you can do multiple level of things around. You can customize it, and you can play around with it, and even you can collaborate with your different teams from product and business. So Jira, frankly speaking, I haven't worked in Geo. I never got a chance to work in Geo because I was completely working on Microsoft Excel, which is way too manual. So in Excel, I learned, but I did something into automation. So I used to make my dashboard automated so that it was so when and where, probably from week on week, I have to publish some reports. So I have to get this data and I have to publish those. So initially, manually takes a lot of time. So then I learned by improvising on Excel. So I basically made those Excel in terms of my dashboard automatically via some script. So only I used to put my data inputs and my dashboard used to get updated automatically.
Right.
So I learned over there. But Jira wasn't there. But during the course of time when I was interviewing, I let the people know that yes, I know Jira. So then they tested me on Jira. Okay, what do you mean by this term in Jira? What do you mean by this term in Jira? So then I have to know and make them understand, yes, I know about this term. So I was well prepared by looking at my past scenarios that, yes, if I was being tested earlier, then for this tool also I will be tested. So I readied myself well before it, and I knew that this terms, what does it mean and how it can be useful for in my day-to-day routine activities. So Jira was not a tool which I never learned, I never practiced, but in Amdocs, beforehand, I got a chance to practice live now. Live, it's live. I can't just play around with it. Along with Jira, I learned Tableau. Tableau is a very good tool to basically showcasing your dashboards, reports to your senior management, and it's very easy to collaborate. And the other tool which I learned was Microsoft Power BI. This is heavily used in the market. It is mainly focusing upon your analytic skills. It helps you to improvise in in terms of mapping your data analytically, and also the same time how good you are at it in making multi-level dashboards for your senior management, which can at the same time showcase different kind of KPIs or different kind of statuses which you want in a single deck altogether. Right. And even you can share across emails, and even you can collaborate easily. So this, I'll tell you that these were the three important tools which I focused on. I learned it. I never worked. No, I didn't learn at Amdocs. I learned beforehand. Yes, and I learned in the duration when I was applying for interviews, and I the same tools I mentioned in my resume. Though I haven't worked on it, but I mentioned because before getting a job, you have to be ready that which are the hot skills in the market for the job of project manager. If you don't have the skill set, there's a highly chance that you won't get shortlisted. So why should I let that option go away? I will mention that. I'll make sure that these are the skills. At least it will land when interview. Then the rest is the process. Whether I get a job or not get a job, it's the other way around. But the foremost thing was to get the interview done. So these were the skills which I found across, I shortlisted, and I mentioned it in such a way in my resume, which will help them know that, okay, yes, I did it in my job recently. So then somehow I got a chance to work on Jira in Amdocs. It was difficult initially. I was frankly afraid, and I even found that I should quit the job and move out of it because I was frightened. Here I cleared one round, but now यहाँ पे आ गया, job मिल गया, अभी क्या? अभी तो इसको करना है, भागना नहीं है. So it was difficult. So I gave myself some time to getting used to it, to getting accustomed to the processes, to getting things in place. And I thought, okay, let's take the challenge. What will happen? Ultimately, you'll fail, right? But with this challenge, at least you will learn something new. And you won't believe that though my tenure with Amdocs was very less, I just served around 10-11 months with Amdocs. But those 10-11 months helped me to transform myself completely. So over there, I learned about what are the roles of Scrum Master practically in place. I was interacting with my stakeholders were. I was interacting with my development team because there were products which were being tested from time to time, and Amdocs was focusing on the agile methodology of project management. So that's the reason why Jira was in place. So I won't go into detail about technically why Jira was in place, and if somebody wants to know that, they can definitely find across Google, or I can even help them to know that why Jira was being used to manage the projects in Agile and how they were supposed to do it. So we were following that, and at the same time, I was using the Power BI tools which were being integrated with Jira. So whatever status is, I want to share it across to my team. I used to share it across on daily basis and weekly basis. So my job was very easy that yes, my people were following the processes. First of all, Amdocs is a very good company. That company follows the process, and without process, none of the single team will do the job. Whether it's from project side or product side or the even say business side, everybody will be following the process, and post that only they will do the job. So I got a chance to interact with my product team. I was interacting with the product owners, Scrum masters, even the development leads, even the delivery leads, and other team from the PMO sides. So this were my stakeholders in Amdocs, and across the entire tenure. So this made me learn about how practically you should do it. In Geo, I wasn't able to do it, but in Amdocs, I got a chance to learn it.
So now you got like the hands-on experience in Amdocs. So how did from here, now how did you start deciding that, okay, now I need to move further, I need to explore more, and now I'm going to again start interviewing. How did you land up at HDFC?
Yes, so I was about to land on that only. That while I was in Amdocs, I was not looking forward to find any opportunity, frankly speaking, because I was loving the job over there. The culture was very good. It was flexible enough, and the team was very good. I was able to interact with people across globally. Earlier, I wasn't able to interact with people globally. Now, this added one portfolio in my basically that I am able to deal with my global clients. So while it works, somebody contacted me through LinkedIn that there is some opportunity with HDFC into program levels. So are you interested in joining it? So I thought, okay, I have just not even given a year to Amdocs, and I was looking forward to settle down basically in Amdocs for a longer time. But then I thought, okay, why not? If something is, if some opportunity is knocking your door, at least you should give it a try. What will happen? Either you'll get a job or you won't get a job. So I just thought, okay, let's give it a try. And so I sent my resumes, and my interview was being, and you won't believe this time was a different challenge altogether. It was a team of designers. It was a team of UI, UX, and UX writers. So I never knew about design. I don't know what is design, frankly speaking.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, let's see. This will be a challenge. Let's see, accept it. So I was shortlisted for the interview. So directly, first round was with my direct manager right now, who I'm working with right now. So she interviewed me, and she didn't went in that much detailing about design, but she was focused because they were looking for some person who can manage projects at program level, because there were lots of projects coming across place, and they weren't able to handle it. So they need somebody who has some hands-on at not entirely at program level, but yes, they should know about that, how projects are being defined, how the planning is being done. And fortunately, I had that exposure where I was working with Amdocs. So this helped me to make them convinced that, okay, yes, I am in picture right now. And also I had some background from tech side earlier. So they were convinced, okay, this is the right person for the job. So let's give them the offer and make him on board.
How many interviews did you have?
This was the first interview. I get the offer directly. I had a couple of rounds. So 2 rounds were there. 1 round was only to know about my background. The other round was me to test it in terms of how do you do the planning when you have something in scope. Before something goes into your project, you have planning, you have defined the scope also. Basically, what is scope of work you will get, how do you plan it out. So there are stakeholders being involved. In post that, but you crunch your scope into different tasks when you assign it to your team. So this happens at the project level, and at the program level, you see the entire project happening across all the tasks getting clubbed together. So they wanted to know that whether do I know the basics about it, and whether do I know about the methods being used. And they specifically wanted to implement those methods in HDFC because they were not in place and people were not there ready to go as per the processes. Because there's a process, people should follow process. But over in HDFC, they were not following any processes around. So that's the reason why they wanted me to get on board. So there were 2 rounds of interviews. I cleared both of them. I got the offer, and then I landed in HDFC. So initially it was difficult. People didn't accept me because I am a non-designer, first of all. And this creative team will accept people who are from their similar backgrounds. That how come a non-designer person is going to manage us, and why do we accept him in things which he wanted to get it done? So it was a challenge for me. So initially, it took some time for me to know about what does UI and UX means. What is the role of the designers into a team? And coincidentally, HDFC was doing a transformation digitally. So they were transforming all their products digitally. Basically, your net banking, your mobile banking were getting transformed so that you can do all those tasks wherever you are at the fingertips. So this was something, a good role, which came across my portfolio. And I thought, okay, now I am here in basically in HDFC. Let's take a challenge and learn it. So I learned about basic designing. What the process of designing involves when it goes to UI and UX. What it involves in terms of prototyping, in terms of wireframing. Though I don't should know it, but my role demanded it. Insights so that none of the team members or none of the your stakeholders should bluff you around and should not make you feel sure that कि तुम्हें पता नहीं है कि यार तुम्हें पता नहीं तो then they will make sure कि हाँ तेरा काम करवाना है तो तुझसे वो काम करवा लेंगे. But you should be very much smart enough to know that कि यार तुझे कोई मजाक बना के या तुझे कोई ब्लफ बना के काम नहीं करवा लेगा. तो वो तुझे तो सीखना पड़ेगा. So then I learned about it. So I didn't went that much into detail, पर मैंने समझ लिया कि हाँ मतलब ये क्या होता है. मतलब frankly speaking, just went across to the skeleton of the process in designing. What it means, कहाँ से कहाँ क्या होता है, and what stage पे क्या होता है, और at every stage who will be the stakeholder whom I will be interacting with topic content. I see my journey. I came from a background, an engineer, being a telecom guy. Now landed up into banking. It's a very different altogether journey. But this entire journey helped me to go through scenarios and phases which, if I hadn't taken the call, I haven't been to that. So though there were challenges, but I will say that except the challenges which come across place, start learning things. Though you don't know completely, but once you learn things, it will help you to improvise it. It will help you to at least know that, okay, whether you are able to do it or not. Ultimately, if you're not able to do it, you can take somebody else's help and improvise on it. But just focus upon where do you want to master at your skills. Which one particular skill is important where you can master it and you will be the best at it. So you have to figure it out that way. So my skill, which I found it, which is very much important specifically for project managers, is your communications. How strong are you in terms of your communications? Because that will, because whatever information you pass on from one team to another team, it should be crisp and clear, and it should be up to the mark. Because people should understand what are you trying to say. Because you need to fulfill that kind of a requirement which has been given to you. And if you are not able to understand it, how are you able to let the team understand it? Okay, this is the requirement which we have got and we have to get it done. So my master was communication. So I mastered my communication very well. That how easily I can convince the other stakeholders, because there are people who are senior to me. But my role is to make sure that I have to be in power to counterattack them at things which is not needed. So this is you have to learn. You will learn with time and with experience once you start dealing things with. And also never ever get manipulated by others. See, there are chances because you are working professionally. So you are in a position of a project manager there. You have to make decisions. So you have to make decisions completely not going emotionally at times because you are working in an organization. Don't fall a trap at some times. Don't get attached at times, and don't get carried away because this will divert you from what you are working on. You have to focus upon being as a professional, an individual.
People who are starting out, maybe like for me as a designer, or people from maybe a non-design background or a non-managerial background, how would you say from your experience, should they upskill? Where should they get the resources to know about, the technical skills that you need as a program manager?
So similar things I found in my team. There were designers wherein they didn't knew this kind of two processes are being involved in project management, being as agile and being as waterfall.
Yeah.
So this thing they didn't knew it. So first and foremost thing, if they are looking forward to get themselves transition from a designer to a leader, maybe it can be the same team of designing where he or she will lead a team of designers, and from there that particular person can move into project manager role. The first thing they should know that what kind of methods are being used in a team, so that it will be easier. So once you become a manager, wherein you are having 2 or 3 designers under you, so you can define your task directly. And the other thing, which kind of tools will you be using it? Because there will be lots of tasks coming your plate, and you won't be in that position to keep on track upon all those same tasks going forward. Because since you're managing a couple of members, you should know in and out that okay, this particular X person is being heavily utilized. How will you know that? In terms of tools, you will be able to know that. So once you are defining some tool, in terms of tools, you will be mapping them. So basically, X person is being mapped for one particular task, Y person is being mapped for one particular task, Z is being mapped for one particular task. So it will be the hierarchy of a tree, and you will be the top. So then from that top view, you will be able to see that, okay, Y person is being assigned for this task. This task is going to be completed within the next couple of weeks. So he is almost 80% utilized, and he is interacting with product teams and with the operational teams. Why Z person is being interacting for a week, that task is for a week, and he is interacting with only the product team, not interacting with the other teams. So with this kind of an ownership, and to become a manager, you should start taking up ownership. So being a designer to a manager it's a simple process. Start taking up ownerships, because once you are taking ownerships, it will make you visible in the team and at the lead level that you are a person who are taking chances and trying to lead the project, though not being a leader, and trying to get the job done. Though there's a manager also. So this will showcase your skills that yes, because ownerships not all will take. This will basically make you stand out. So once you start taking ownerships, you can start telling them, okay, over a period of time that okay, now I'm able to manage it out. Now please lend me some projects wherein I think automatically your manager only will tell you, okay, now she has seen you or he or she has seen you. Now they will particularly define that role. Okay, now this is the project. This is the project being maintained by 3 of them. You take care of them. So whatever updates have to be taken. So earlier he or she was taking from each team member, but now those same updates he or she will take it from you. So now it's your duty to make sure that the other 3 which are there under you are being properly utilized, are being doing the job from time to time. Their tasks are being assigned from time to time in terms of any challenges or issues you have. So then you have to be sure that you can resolve them even personally and also professionally. So this will define you as a manager. And from that manager, you started to start interacting with the business teams. Because earlier, so whatever business requirements basically first comes to project manager. Because project manager's role is to make sure that whatever scope of work is been defined by business should come to him or her. Then he is the right person who will define it, that which particular leader will be working on that project. So since I have the visibility of the entire team, so I will have the way around, okay, this particular manager is free from design team and he can handle this task. So I will hand over this particular project to him or her, and now it is his responsibility to get the job done. But after assigning that scope, I will be in touch with him constantly till the particular project is being delivered from our end to the business team. Because I have to be there in place, because there are scenarios wherein I can say you that once you design some kind of a prototype, right, it goes for feedback. From feedback, it will come to us to improvise those changes. Then once again, we do the job. Once again, review and refinements have been done. So until unless the entire design has been done from our side, I will be in that particular zone. I have to be involved at all those stages. Maybe it's in review, or it's in progress, or it's in hold, or something else, other thing has been not placed. So I will be involved in all those stages. And at the same time, even being as a project manager, I have to flow the synthesis across different stakeholders. So in HDFC, my role is defined at program level, but I am wearing multiple hats. As I told you that there are Scrum Masters, there are POs, there are PMOs, but all these roles are not defined in HDFC. So I am wearing a single hat with multiple different roles at the same time. So at some point of time, I am playing the role of a Scrum Master. So Scrum Master, why? Because I have to have the hurdles from time to time with different teams to know that where my team is standing around. So that if somebody from the executive level will come and ask me, tell me that where are you standing right now? So I should be in place to answer them. Yes, I know that where are we standing. And if I'm not, then it is my incapability of fulfilling my job. So these all roles are not there, but indirectly or directly, I am defining myself to get the job done. Though I should not do it, but I have to do it because it's my role and I have to do it some other way. So basically, this is how my routine in agents looks like. And what as a designer, if that particular person wants to move from designer to manager, this if they focus on this simple things now, I'm for sure that they will definitely end up getting a job at the project level and also at the program level going forward. It's very simple. Just starting ownerships. Don't run away from that. Accept challenges if you come across it. Learn different tools in the market that will help you to stand out. And the more I won't tell you that get it focused completely into that. But if you actually wanted to go from designing to program or project level, these are the key steps which you should focus upon.
And what about a student or someone in college who's listening to us and thinking, okay, I also want to become a program manager. So which courses could he be going for? I know it comes from experience. Someone at a student level, how would they know?
When I was handling interns, right? So all those interns were the bachelor graduates and the master graduates, and they were from very reputed institutes. And you can say NID, NIFTs. So they were from basically from very good colleges. So initially, when they landed with us, so their initial job role was mainly focused on designing and research. So they were not heavily invested on getting themselves into managers because this is the key start for them. Because for a person to become manager, they can't directly go. And any company, probably initially, they won't give them the job of managing a team.
Because your basics. Experience to break in.
Yeah.
The work
exactly.
Yeah. So how would
yes. So initially there were good people who actually knew about it. That they didn't know about Jira and stuff because Jira basically depends that which company they're going in and which role they're going in. So, but they knew about Power BI because they were interested into analytics. They're heavily focused right now on AI right now because AI is transforming the entire business scenarios. So few tools like Power BI, Tableau, they were knowing it. Jira, they heard about it, but they never knew it, what it does and what is the role of it. So they were mostly focused on research and mainly designing. But they learned very good yes, how to get transition. So when they were working with us, so I used to have my calls with them week on week to understand how are they being properly doing the job and what pain points they have. So my job is to make sure that though being appointed as an interns from the colleges, they not only just focus on designs, but at the same time, what other things they want to learn. So they will be able to tell me in that particular calls. So there were things which they told me that okay, they want to have hands-on also on some things on AI perspective. But at that moment, I was not having any projects or assignments which I can get a hand on. But yes, I gave them a chance at least to do some kind of benchmarking where they can evaluate and they can let me know that which other AI tools are available in the market, which can ease in my job for designing. They can figure it out, let me know. We'll have a call set up, we'll discuss it, and we can figure it out how easily we can get implemented. So they brought me the case studies. They gave me the showcase about the case studies. Okay, this is the things available in the market. This is how the other companies are doing it. And what kind of challenges we will face if it is a bank. Because we're working in a banking sector. So there are a set of protocols which we have to face, which we have to go across as per the RBI guidelines. Because other than that, because we can't do it. Because there are companies like Zomato, Swiggy, have a free hand on particular protocols. But being as a bank, we can't. We have to have those kind of restrictions in place, which we have to do it for our customers in terms of security and in terms of keep our information confidential. But that is the other part. But at least they did the job of finding it out. Okay, this is the way we can get those things implemented and how easily it will be useful for a team as a whole. So I would just suggest that enter the market, learn the basics so strong that you are in place that there is no particular timeline of becoming a manager. It's up to you how easily you adapt yourself, how fast you want to grow, and how sooner you want to move from one position to another. That will define your journey of being as a designer to a manager to a leader. So it's all up to you. How much you want to stay into your comfort zone, that will be also the most important factor. So it's simple. Just learn things which comes to your plate, improvise it, and by improvising it, keep a lookout around. Try to interact with, find chances. I will say, find chances to interact with different stakeholders. See to that, okay, how are you able to understand those requirements in terms of though not being a leader or a manager, and try to encapsulate those things into your routine activities. So this will make your job easier, and you will be sooner landing an opportunity which you're looking forward to.
Can you give us like a sneak peek into the day of a life of a program manager? Who do you collaborate with on a daily basis? What are the challenge that you get in a day? What's your daily routine like?
Yeah, so my daily routine is very chaotic because project managers are not being liked by anyone, frankly speaking, because they are always on the go to ask about different kind of statuses. Hey, tell me this, why it's not happening. So my routine starts with having the hurdle with my entire team, wherein I should get an idea that okay, this is. So I map my work from week on week, because every week my scenario changes. So initially I interact with my team, which is my internal team. I have my hurdles with them. I interact with my leaders from design team to understand that which is my high priority task, which has been asked from my senior management. So because I have to deliver it sooner the possible. Other than that, I do have different vendors in place which are supporting business HDFC on our task. So then I do have meetings with them. And then there are some resources which we have asked from them to get our job done. So I do also have to manage those vendors parallelly along with my team. And at the same time, there are daily or weekly meetings along with product teams because my stakeholders involves product marketing, not in the operation side, somewhat from development and majorly my internal team. So product, why? Because over here my business comes from product side. So they set up me up the set of requirements in specifically you can say mobile banking, that what they need in mobile banking, what features they are looking forward to get it designed in mobile banking. So they will discuss with me, and those similar things I will then pass on to my design leaders. Okay, this is what we have got on plate, and now we have to get it fulfilled. So during that entire journey, I will be in constant touch with my product team and my design team. But there are at times where the marketing team comes in place because they have to publicly live the particular product. So they have something in mind that okay, we want to picturize a product into our customers in this way. So because they are the leaders in the industry, because they know that okay, if something has to be sold, how they have to be sold enough. So I got an exposure over here being at program level that I interact with the marketing team as well. So marketing team is entirely different because they will think in terms of selling a product, not in terms of designing a product. So you have to be way too headstrong into make them convinced. Though you have designed a product, but you can't just sell it to the customers just because you want to sell it for the sake of earning and making the business. So these are the few key stakeholders which I interacted with in my routine, and it goes on every week on week, month on month. And but there are some chances where I do get to interact with my executive team, which are way higher, where they are basically managing the portfolio level kind of programs. There are group heads involved. So there are this basically why do I get a chance? Because I get to review different set of programs with them. Though my job will be just 1 to 10% of it, but the 90% will be involved at the higher portfolio level. So I get to know about different teams, what are they working on, what is something coming into picture in the bank, what is the vision, and the same way then I have to be ready. Something in basically I have to be one step ahead in terms of thinking, in terms of improvising it, and letting my team know, hey, this is something getting portrayed to be ready. We will be getting things sooner on a plate.
Seems like you're going to be constantly in meeting with different teams. So
Yeah.
communication seems like a
Yeah.
big part of your job. How do you
Yes.
manage your teams effectively, and how do you communicate effectively? Can you give us 3 tips to help?
I start with the conflicts. See, there are ego is a big challenge, and when you grow up your leadership level, so ego definitely comes into place. But what I do, I had a relation of a friend. I make a relation as a friend to my designers and also to my leaders over there. So first of all, just understand the pain points for the reason behind they're having conflict for. And after understanding the pain points, what I approach I use, I interact with them on one-on-one. So I interact with the one person initially, and that why that X person is having the conflict and for what reason, and why that particular person is not able to accept it. So once I understand that kind of a problem statement, I will then discuss it with the other person individually. That what reasons and what scenarios had been in place which got that particular conflict arise. And we don't take it personally. We are working professionally, so we have to deal things professionally. So I discuss with both of them individually, understand the pain points, find a common workaround which can be good for as a team, even for both as an individual also, because we have to find a way around for as a team. It is difficult, definitely. It is not so easy to resolve conflicts because naturally sometimes I am on the softer side. So I make it a point that I understand the problems as a friend rather than being as a project manager. And I initially building the trust is more important. How do you build your trust across different stakeholders and your team? That will help you to resolve your conflicts way more easier. What kind of relation do you hold with your colleagues is also way how healthier you keep your relations in the team itself. Because when you're having a team of big strength, team size, you have to make sure that the team is healthy enough and engaging enough because that will define your relation and your trust with them. And if they trust you, definitely your conflicts will be resolved more faster and more easier. So touch wood, somehow I'm able to do that naturally and people are able to understand me and I'm able to resolve it.
Coming to the end of the interview, how would you say you maintain your work-life balance? Seems like you're doing a lot.
Yes. So I would say that it's up to individual that how do they manage their work. At the same time, how do they focus on things they love to do in life. So for me, I always make sure that along with work, I want to focus my time into my passion because I learn things from my passion more than on my job. Why do I mean by that? Because I love to travel a lot, and with traveling, it had made me to place in situations and scenarios which were never known to me, and there were circumstances which I have never seen in my life. So with that, it helped me to learn that okay, by exposing yourself in those real life scenarios, I can also implement the same things in my routine work. Because why not? Because they are being taught to you. It's up to you that how do you basically how do you inculcate into your team, right? So then this helped me to. I was doing it initially. That let me test it out that whether I'm able to get those energies around by keeping into my team, but it helped me around. So what do I mean by that? By coming out of comfort zone, first of all. So by traveling, it helped me to face fears in my life, and I did overcome that, and it helped me to also come out of my comfort zones. So that similar scenarios I shared with my team as well. Okay, take an example of any project comes to your place. It may be difficult because there are always tight deadlines, and you have to fulfill those. But accept it as a challenge, work upon it, and try to come out of the comfort zone. But at the same time, also don't be that much overburdened that you are being completely, you can say, burned out for the entire week and you don't have any energies left to focus upon. But instead, try to, instead of, along with hard working, also be a smart worker because that will help you to grow faster. There are people who do hard work, but they don't do smart work. Smart work is upon the team, upon the person, how they look at things and get the job done in less time and focus the rest of the time in things which they want to learn along with to the good career. So I do in that way. So I do also have to answer somebody about me, and they'll definitely ask me. But it's my duty to make sure that no other person, even my manager, can push me out of my work-life balance. So I define my work for particular hours, rest all of the time. Outside my work zone, I just focus my energies onto my passion. Because this passion has taught me so many things that has helped me to inculcate into my career as well. So this is how do I work it out. I travel a lot. I travel more often. I meet people. This is the reason why I had a good master over my communications. I get to learn about others, what they know. It's just keep yourself open. There is knowledge across everywhere. Just learn things from others. You may never know that one single thing may help you to maybe it's useful for you. So just take the positives. See, there will be negatives around, but it's up to you. How do you take the positives around, and how the positives how do you improvise it and have yourself inbuilt in your life and in your work as well. So I just head out. I just put myself in situations which I am not into it. Face the fears, come out of comforts, take on challenges, and keep traveling. Keep traveling so that I suggest my even other peers that yes, travel is something which will let you know so many things around. There are so many beautiful things around. There are so many beautiful people around. Yeah, take up some activity, learn it, because it will divert your mind, and at the same time, it will also let you focus upon things which you want to achieve. It will let you make a good at making decisions, because it's a way too important in life. It will make you mature also, and this simple things in life are not being taught by any individual or by any master. You have to learn on your own. It can be anything, whatever hobby or passion you have, and just hold on to it throughout your life. Don't ever live it, or don't ever basically give it, but attach to it. And at the same time, never give up on yourself. Keep believing on yourself, because this will keep you on going, so that you don't stop. So this is how my work life looks like.
This is really good. Like, we're ending on a really good note, something that people will not be able to learn in schools or not learn from books.
Yeah.
Experience matters, and also taking time out from yourself to keep your mental
Yeah.
health also in check, and just
Yeah.
have fun while working. Very good interview. Thanks so much, Janak, for taking the time to do this with me. And I hope we have you soon at our follow-up events. We're based
Yeah.
in Bombay. We're Design Cohort, and see you in the next one.